Thank you once again for joining us for another episode of our podcast, Redeemed. We're, as I've said before, we are working through a few chapters here in 1 Corinthians.
Yep.
Always lots to learn here. This time we're looking at chapter 4. And we're talking about judging. Judging. Judged.
No judgy.
Yeah. And as Christians, we can be a little judgy. Just a little bit.
I don't feel like anyone's ever said that. What are you talking about?
I would never.
Yeah. And it's really weird because we're really not any better than anybody else.
No.
Like, so why are we being so judgy? I'm a sinner. You're a sinner.
We all sinners.
Yeah.
It is interesting when you really break it down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yet we do. We do judge.
Yeah.
Well, at least I'm not. I'm better than that person.
Well, I'm better than that guy. Better than that guy.
And I'd love to say I don't do it, but I do it. I tell myself all the time, hey, I'm better than Michael. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you set
Not
the bar,
much,
set the
just a
bar
little
pretty low.
bit.
You could have achieved better, but go for it.
But Paul's got some interesting things to say about judgment, and I'm using the word judgment because that's where he kind of winds up. Okay.
Yes.
He says in verse 3 that I care very little if I am judged by you or any human court. Indeed, I do not even judge myself. My conscience is clear, but that does not make me innocent. It is the Lord who judges me. Therefore, judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring light to what is hidden in the darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. And at that time, each will receive their praise from God. Now, there's a lot more in that chapter.
Yes.
Okay? But if you just focus on that little bit there, it really goes to show that we're not really supposed to judge or cast judgment. That is God's job.
And we shouldn't be worried about others judging us.
Which I think is equally as important.
Correct.
Because sometimes we can not be out there sharing the gospel like we should because we care about what people think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they might think I'm this, or they might think I'm that. And Paul's saying, don't
Paul
worry
made
about
it pretty clear.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Because we're going to be judged by a higher power, basically. And that's going to happen when we're standing there at those pearly white gates. God's going to be judging. And personally, I'd rather have a good judgment than a bad judgment there, if you know what I mean.
That's a fact, Jack.
So, amen to that, brother. But at the same time, we have to be careful that we're not judging other people as well. Because that's not our job either. I think our job is to point out sin in the body of believers, absolutely, with other Christians who are struggling and need some help. I think we've been called to help them point out things that are going on in their life, but we are not called to judge.
Yeah, there's a difference between holding people accountable and judging people. There's a big difference there.
But sometimes I think we take the freedom of Christianity, if you will, or the personal relationship with Jesus as something that gives us a right to judge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't give us that right, but it does make sense.
And we have a tendency to use that to judge other people and that could, in the long run, drive us away from people. Where if we leave the judging up to God, all we're concerned about is sharing the gospel, guess what? Leave the judgment's all up to Him.
That's a fact.
So,
yeah, we have zero right to judge anybody.
Absolutely, because it's all God, as we talked about in the previous podcast. It's all about, God does it all. We don't do anything. And we're just as much a sinner as the next person, so we have no right to judge anybody. According to the Bible, all people are, the only thing that we're actually guaranteed is hell and death, death and hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Sorry, I got it backwards there. Death and hell.
One does have to come before the other.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Just saying.
But that's what we deserve. But because the Lord loves us and what He did, He created a way for us to be able to join Him in heaven when we die, of course. But that being said, He hasn't given that as a right to judge other people.
Absolutely.
So, you're awful quiet over there, Amanda. You want to weigh in?
Nah.
No.
She's shaking her head. She agrees.
No, I think it, as a believer too, I think it hurts your witness if that's
Absolutely.
how you are to the people that we've been called to witness to. If you're just judgmental, then people don't want to listen to you.
Absolutely.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Matter of fact, they'll distance themselves from you.
Yep. Absolutely, in a big way.
I'm not going around with that guy. He just judges me all the time.
Yeah, like as a jerk.
All he ever does is talk about how wrong I am.
Yeah.
He's wrong too.
Yeah.
Every day. Ask my wife.
She doesn't
So-
want you.
So, in a nutshell, Paul was right again.
This Paul guy.
He's pretty good at breaking things down. Absolutely. And, we shouldn't always be caring about what other people think, because that can stop us from sharing the gospel. At the same time, we can't be judging other people, because that could hamper us from sharing the gospel as well.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, God is the ultimate judge, and everybody will get their judgment when the day comes.
Yeah, the Bible's pretty clear on that.
Which kind of scares me to death.
There's no fast pass around that one.
No. It kind of scares me. I'm not
looking.
looking forward to that day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad day, but it's gonna end good.
I'm not sure it's a bad day. I mean, it's
It's gonna be a long day. How about that? It's gonna be a long
Waiting
day.
for everybody to.
yeah,
Uh huh. You're right. Not a bad day. A long day. Though.
a long day. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Don't be judgy. See you next time.